Hello, buddy. This is Purge bringing you guys a replay commentary first person. I'm going to be doing an Enchantress game. I played this game on stream last night. I'm going to upload the game separately as well so you guys can see the perspective from me live, but I also wanted to do a replay commentary because I feel like there's tons to talk about in terms of Enchantress. With that said, let's do some Dota Buff stuff. Again, I'm sponsored by Dota Buff, but we're doing these because it is such good information to add to the hero. It's a very unpopular hero, 98th in popularity. The win rate's really low, 40%, but this is mostly because people don't understand the playstyle very well, and they don't understand necessarily how to play. Not just playstyle, but it's playstyle and the ability to micro. You have to have micro capabilities. You have to know how to control multiple units at the same time, and a lot of people have trouble with that. So I'll talk about that stuff. I'll talk about playstyle, and I'll talk about items as well. So first of all, your first skill, what it does is it reduces attack speed for anything attacking you except for towers. Everything else is reduced, or magic immune units. And if they're magic immune, you will be hit at a normal speed and untouchable won't work. If they hit you with a break skill, such as Aghanim's Shadow Demon ulti or the Silver Edge, then they won't have the attack speed reduction. So Untouchable is a really good skill because it gives you a lot of survivability in the early game. Your second skill is arguably your best skill. It's called Enchant. What it allows you to do is take control of a neutral creep for 80 seconds. After that 80 seconds, the creep dies. Nobody gets experience or gold when it dies. And you can also use this skill on heroes, which slows their movement speed by 20 to 50% for 5.5 seconds. Cooldown goes all the way down to 12. This is your most important ability because what it allows you to do is basically use your hero plus a neutral creep at the start of the game to do things on the map. And that means there's a lot of power exerted because neutral creeps are much stronger than level 1 heroes. In a lot of ways, they have a nuke that's usually equivalent to a level 2 nuke. Their movement speed is pretty slow, but they're essentially independent. You can move them anywhere on the map and get kills and harass with them. Third skill is called Nature's Attendance. You activate your Cloud of Wisps, which lasts for 10 seconds, and they heal for 10 HP per second. So level 1, it heals 40 HP per second, up to 10 or 100 HP per second for you or allies nearby. If you're standing near a bunch of damaged allies, the amount healed will be split evenly. If you're standing by yourself, you'll be healed yourself. If you're full HP, then it'll only heal the people that are low near you. So you can use it to heal yourself or allies. Your ultimate, what it does is it adds a extra element to your attack, I guess. What's it called? It's an orb or whatever. What it does is pure damage based on how far your ranged attack travels before it hits the target. So this is really good because there's a bunch of ways to increase your range now. You can use the Dragon Lance. You can use the Hurricane Pike, because it pushes you apart and then gives you unlimited attack range. But at max damage, it does... I can't remember. There was a limit. They capped the distance. The damage is capped at 1750 distance. So to calculate that, we can multiply 14% times 1750 or 22%. I'm not going to do that because it'll take a couple of seconds. But it's still, those are very good ways that you can go. Early game support items are also very good. In the past, Enchantresses would buy things like Mech. And that was just strong because it allowed you to rapidly farm, create space on the map, and then transition your team. So this game I prioritized more supporting items rather than damage items, but I like the possibility of doing both. So these are very common items that you get. This is an offlane game, so Enchantress offlane is a possibility, but Enchantress soars a lot better as a support in a lot of ways. She can work as an offlane if you get access to neutral creeps, but if those are blocked, then she's not a very good offlane. Kind of depends on the lineup though, but if you do want to go damage, this is the right build. Phase, Drum of Endurance, Aghanim Scepter, and you also get a Dragon Lance in there, but that's probably somewhere in here. The 10 to 20 minute mark is where you get the Dragon Lance, and then later you upgrade it to the Hurricane Pike if you want to. So usually a jungle hero. I think she's better there. There is a higher win rate in the offlane, which makes a lot of sense. She is good as an offlane hero, but I think her low win rate is because people don't know how to play her correctly is the main issue. It's a lot easier to just go to lanes with her and use her other skills other than Enchant to get a lot of advantage because of Untouchable and because how strong Impetus is. But really the big advantage is from neutrals, like I said. So most popular skill build right here. This is generally the right thing. Sometimes you need to adjust it depending on the lineup. In my game, I was against a lot of magic nukes. I was against a Zeus and things like that. Untouchable doesn't help against that, so I had to get more levels of Nature's Attendance to try to offset all that nuke damage. Always get ult at 6, of course. Common items, Power Treads are really good. Aghanim Scepter is fantastic. Hurricane Pike's really good. Dragonlance is great. Things like these, I wouldn't ever get a Bloodstone. This is stupid. Don't buy that. Moonshard late game is a possibility if you're way ahead. Orchid is not good. Midas is not good. You're not a hero that's aiming. Most of these items are awful. This is why the win rate's so low, because people don't understand how to play the hero well. But Enchantress is really about an early game pressure. Much like Chen, what you do is abuse neutrals to create ganks across the map, transition your team into pushing and team fights, and also offer some really nice damage in the mid game. And the other cool part about Enchantress is that pure damage is really strong right now, for a variety of reasons. There's things like Hood is becoming better, armor items are as a whole a little bit easier to get. Things like Iron Talon, Tranquil Boots, people buy Vlad's more often. There's a lot of things that make pure damage just effective. It's just consistently strong, and I believe it does go through Magic Immunity still. So it's pretty much nothing wrong with Impetus right now, except for the damage just has been nerfed a little bit over time, and the distance cap is smaller than it used to be. Enchantress used to be real OP in the previous patch. So heroes you're good against. You're good against Chen because you can steal his neutrals away from him, and it's less expensive for you to do that. You're good against Omni Knight because you do pure damage through all of his heals, physical resistance, as well as repel. Visage, similar thing, high resistance, but you can burst right through him. Meepo, same thing, pure damage. Most of these heroes you're just getting advantages because you happen to have pure damage. Lycan, you can steal Necro 3 from him using Enchant, and some of these other guys, you can steal their illusion. I'm guessing against Arc Warder you might be able to use your second skill, Enchant, on his clone. You might be able to take control of it because it's kind of an illusion. I'm not sure if that works. If it does, that makes a lot of sense why you can counter Arc Warden. Kind of a cool idea actually to use that as a counter. Here's your bad against though. Heroes that have either damage accelerants or can just keep you in one place and nuke you down with magic damage. Chaos Knight's a great example. Stuns you and hits you, however slowly, and can chase easily. PL is good because you don't do AoE damage, so it's hard to deal with him. Phantom Assassin gets attack speed from her blink, things like that. Wind Ranger gets focus fire, nuke damage, duel, nuke damage. Basically, nukes are some of the reasons. But there's a lot of really fantastic things about Enchant. Amazing base movement speed, 335 is out of control, basically. Your damage on average is very good. Your armor is terrible at level 1, but your int gain is good. Your strength gain is terrible, and your agi gain is alright. So you kind of have to adjust for this by buying strength items. Hero meta statistics, she has a very low win rate at high MMR too, 44%. I think she justifies a higher percentage in this, and I think she's a pretty good hero right now. At least I felt really good in the game I played. My overall win rate is 56%. I played 57 games, so I played quite a few. Out of all my heroes played, she's top 20, which is pretty reasonable, and as is Chen, I guess. I have pretty good win rates on both of those heroes. Now, you're probably wondering, how the hell do I micro correctly? The way that you micro correctly is you need hotkeys. If you watched my hotkey video before, and if you haven't yet, I'd recommend watching it. But what you need to do is you need to have enough hotkeys that you can separate your creeps onto individual hotkeys. That way you can micro them properly. And it's not just about microing, it's also about how you approach your ganks. If you try to run past the creep wave, then you're probably not going to be successful in scoring kills on your opponents. But if you do it in a way that allows you to sneak up, like with a Smoke of Deceit, then it becomes a lot easier to get kills. And then it should make your game a lot easier. So in this game, I had a mid OD. I also chose to be a little bit greedy here and buy Boots of Speed at start because I randomed, I believe. Normally what you'll start with is something similar to what I'm holding, which is a Tango, a Clarity, a Smoke, and maybe some Ironwood branches. You absolutely need a Smoke, and you need at least one Clarity to refill your mana if you run out. Or if there's like a mana drainer or something like this. But with Boots of Speed right now, I have 580 movement speed, which is incredible. It's so high. You should be able to run everybody down. I'm going to fast forward in times like these that there is downtime. So first thing, I'm just going to run to the offlane here. I'm trying to trade hits with this Morphling, but it's actually not good for me to trade hits right now because I have only 1 armor. And I also don't have the benefit of having Untouchable yet. If I had Untouchable, I'd happily trade here. The other issue is that I only had 2 Tangos because of my greedy Boots purchase, so I'm forced basically to only trade hits in a good way. Once he's out of attack range, though, I can easily punish him, and I'm happily just going to chase after him and give him as many right clicks as I can. But that guy was running at 330 movement speed with Boots. I'm actually faster than him without Boots. So kind of a nice bonus there. So I'm slightly low on regen. What I'm going to do, and what you should always do as Enchantress, is you start in the jungle. Make sure you turn on that setting that lets you see where the spawn camp is. For this camp, it's about here, where this line is here. So don't cross this line, wait for the creeps to spawn at 30 seconds. And then you'll probably, what you do is you jungle another camp, grab another creep, and then at the 1 minute mark when they refresh, and then you go somewhere with a smoke and try to get a gank off. Now in this game it's pretty easy. It's either going to be a Storm or a Zeus mid. And I pretty much knew at the start of this game that it was likely that I was going to get a lot done because of the Zeus and the Storm. Both are very, very gankable with Chen and Enchantress in the early game. So again, just clearing the neutral camp. You don't get the experience for the large one, but that means you have to make up for it by killing the other camps relatively fast. So I had kind of a nice start here in the fact that satyrs were my next group, and my large satyr that I picked up has the ability to nuke. Now I maybe made a small mistake here in that I didn't kill this camp without stacking it, but I slightly blocked it there, but I was very, very close. So it was ultimately going to be okay. So what I want to do here is I want to kill those other 2 neutrals if possible, and also take control of a centaur and then go gank with it. So they're not the best disables, and in some ways it's hard to set this kill up, but I should be able to do it with smart play. So the nice part about the OD being mid is that also he can set up a pretty guaranteed disable. If he gets his astral off, it buys me 4 seconds to move my creeps into position. And now I really want to emphasize how important it is that I smoke here. By smoking, it's hopefully guaranteeing my ability to kill the Zeus. And they kind of had their wards placed in the wrong place. First of all, they blocked the small camp. Their other ward is down here, which is going to spot some of my rotations going into their jungle, but there's no reason to do that. The place they should place this ward is either here, or even a high ground ward here. That way they can see me rotating around. But if that ward was in the right place, and if I didn't have a smoke, getting this kill off would be much harder. If Zeus just happened to be on the high ground, then he's likely going to see my creeps coming, and I'm not going to be able to get a kill. So this all comes down to Astral Imprisonment, basically. It's a very low cast range at level 1, but if he can get it casted on the Zeus, then it should lead to me getting a kill. Now at this point I'm kind of messing up the movement of my creeps, but what I want to do is lead with the Centaur, because I need to get him in range early enough to get the disable off. He does get the disable off, I'm going to be able to follow up with the Centaur here. And there we go, micro the Centaur, throw my other disables, and a pretty easy kill. I did take some Huskar damage, but ultimately the important thing is that we got a first blood, and CCNC on the OD was able to get that. There's like no way that an OD is going to be able to get that kill otherwise. And I lost my Satyr on the way back, which is completely fine. I can just go back to jungling here. I'm going to take the Dark Troll and spawn skeletons with him as soon as I can, just to increase my DPS and try to farm more in the mid lane. So this is basically what you do as Enchantress. Get all of your skills. Usually by level 3 this is good to do. Some Enchantresses will not get Nature's Attendance this early. They'll go for a second level of Untouchable, because 70 attack speed reduction at this point in the game is almost invulnerable. But again, due to how many attack speeds, or how many magic nukes they have, like against a Centaur for example, there's really not that much point. I'm sorry, not a Centaur. Against a Morphling for example, there's not very much point in me getting too much attack speed reduction, because he's still going to nuke me anyway, so things like Waveform. Zeus, same principle, but more extreme. Storm, kind of a similar principle. Now I want to set up a gank here, and this is what you should be doing as Enchant. You should look around the map and see what you can do. Do a little bit of farming, and then transition that into some kills, attempt at kills. Now again, I'm approaching from the most obvious way. If he had a ward here, he would know that I'm here. So I kind of want to stand on the high ground. And as soon as he's able to get the disable off, this is pretty straightforward. And you're not going to be able to see how I'm microing this because we're watching a replay here. But it is pretty clear if you watch the live game. So if you're a little confused how I do this, go watch the other video. Wrap around, wait until he's a little out of position. It was nice the creep wave was on our side of the map. If it's not on our side of the map, then it's probably not likely that I'm going to be able to get the kill. And that's a decision that you have to figure out. Am I going to be able to actually get a kill by rotating like this? I also kept the Mud Golem over here. That way when the Zeus comes back, I can actually nuke him again. And the Mud Golem, once it dies, it's kind of cool for Enchantresses and Chen. It actually does get another split off. So I'm going to throw another boulder here just for free damage. And then I should have another boulder follow up afterwards. So I just wanted to walk through and do a little nuke here. I should resume farming. I'm kind of being a little slow here, but yeah, just trying to get some free harass in on the mid lane. It's good to do this. Just grab a creep and send it mid. Now, the benefit for Enchantress is the fact that you get to do this for free, essentially. Whereas a Chen is forced to spend some of his time not harassing or not farming, whereas an Enchantress can do it easily. I can send one creep mid to harass while I spend time with another creep farming for myself. So I can basically maximize my farm on the map in a very, very easy way. So what I'm trying to do with the Wildcat now is send it mid, make a tornado, and then harass with that. It's one of the worst, most annoying things to play against in all of the game if you do have to deal with a tornado on the mid lane. So I'm spawning a tornado. I'm going to try to send it towards the Zeus. That way he gets harassed. And just imagine like trying to last hit in this lane. Right now Zeus does have 19 last hits. He's actually farming quite well considering the pressure on him. But I can't imagine it's actually fun to have to play around that. I also picked up an Arcane Boots here to try to offset some of my mana loss by roaming a lot. But I don't think I really lost that much to do this. Looks like I lost my Wildkin creep, but I'm not sure if it probably just timed out. It was kind of low anyways. So what I can do here is consider diving again. I'm going to always be checking, and this is something you should do when you're ganking. Check the lanes, see what the items of the Morphling are, see what the items and the mana levels of your heroes are. Can I get a kill off? And I realized at this point that the creep wave is pushing, and that it wasn't going to be very likely that I'm able to dive that. So instead I'm just going to go back and do mid pressure again. Even if I don't necessarily get something fantastic out of this, it's okay. So I'll start the tornado on the high ground. I'm going to move it into a position where his hero is likely to stand, and I don't want to reveal that the gank is coming just yet, so I'm just now going to move the tornado in. He just put a ward down next to me, so he's going to see that this gank is coming. And even getting 2 people to TP like that, that's 100 damage, or 100 economical damage. 100 gold is spent just there for them to react to this. And yeah, he put a ward in a great place, and I don't think I ever ended up dewarding it, but this is all effective things that you can do just to get some pressure on the map. I'm going to right-click that on his hero. And I also wanted to just right-click the Oracle, so I canceled the Tornado just to slap the Oracle instead. Like, that's just a creep. I just made that creep for 65 mana, and now it's creating space on the map. Like, it actually does so much. I slapped Zeus twice for, like, 100 damage, and I'm still farming over here at relatively full efficiency. You can farm a little faster if you do things like stacks and things like that, but the amount of pressure I was able to put on the map was huge. Now, the important thing at this point is don't just AFK farm too much. If you farm too much after you get some successful pressure, you kind of throw the game away in a lot of ways. Because you need to always be pressuring the map. As soon as you start AFK farming, that allows your opponents to get map control and take advantage of your inaction. Whereas I can keep pressuring while harassing, while farming, and doing that is usually going to force mistakes. And that's the really important thing. You want to force your opponents to make mistakes due to their inaction, or due to your action. I'm going to rotate to the top lane here because I feel like I could help, even if I do only have 1 disable. I'll grab this one as well, even if there's a pull going on, because that's one of the better nuking creeps, and I can easily get behind my opponents. So what I'm trying to do is set up my hotkeys so that I can land a very, very easy setup here. And it didn't even matter. They actually kind of killed him anyways, but it's still good that I rotated over to try to help them out. Because there was a chance where the Jug doesn't just super outplay them, and he does actually need my help to be successful. So pop and heals here to get him back up to full a little bit faster. And what I could possibly do actually is just start pushing with this. In fact, I think I kind of should have. It's hard though, because by the time that their heroes respawn, which is very rapid since it's early game, then they would have already been there to deny experience. So it's probably better if I just go back to jungling. And now I have a pretty good 2 hero or 2 creep ganking combo, and I'm level 6 at a super fast time. If you look at my net worth, I should be pretty far up there. I'm actually ahead of the Zeus right now, and that's mostly just due to things like pressure. Now his ward is going to spot me rotating around, but what I ended up doing is rotating behind the tower. It's important that sometimes you approach the gank in very different ways. He's probably worried that I was running at him right there, but I actually did want to do a wraparound instead rather than approach the same way. So he'll know right now that shit's hitting the fan. I did miss my first disable. I could have hit him with the clap on the Ursa most likely. I think I actually messed this up severely because I chose to pressure the Morphling a lot here. And then the great stun by him means that there's no way I can actually get damage off. I also didn't activate my heal a little bit fast, but the biggest issue I think was that my initial disable was weak. My Centaur wasn't going to hit. I should have used the Ursa clap. If I used the Ursa clap there, I saw the movement speed of the Zeus by like 20%, and I think it would have been a lot more likely that we got that kill. So that was actually a pretty big fight swing, and a pretty large mistake from me in that I initiated, and that's part of the problem with some of your creeps. You have to look at the creeps that you have and decide whether or not with them you're going to be able to be effective in that fight. It also kind of sucked that I didn't have my raindrop there. If I had raindrops, I would have blocked minimum like 200 damage of magic from the Zeus or something like that. That could have changed the game a lot, but don't be too discouraged by a gank sometimes going bad. A lot of it does kind of come down to your ally's execution, so maybe using enchant is hard in lower level games, but if that's the case, you can just prioritize a little bit more on things like, I don't know, just AFK farm a little more, but still gank sometimes, or wait until you have really good creeps and reliable creeps at ganking before you end up going for those gank attempts. Make sure that you have like a troll creep with a centaur or troll creep with an Ursa before it's effective, and change your creeps up depending on what you're against. If you're against something like an anti-mage, you might need like a troll creep into a centaur. If you're against somebody that's less mobile, you might want more damage, like you could use 2 satyrs, or you could use like a satyr and a hellbear, as long as you can get them in a position. So just look at all the tools that are available to you in this gank potential and utilize them in a way that allows you to secure a kill in a good way. Ganking is all about doing ganks that are very likely to succeed, basically. So try to focus on that. So yeah, again, I wanted to go for a mech this game. I looked at my heroes and I said, nobody's going to have a mech. So I kind of want to buy just for the fact that it will help my team accelerate and stay alive in team fights, especially against things like Zeus, Morphling. There's going to be a ton of damage coming out, and if I have magic resistance or some kind of magic protection while also having a mech, then it should keep me more and more survivable. I mismicroed a little bit here. I wanted the Alpha Wolf to not die. Alpha Wolves are great at accelerating your farms because of the damage amp. And now I also wanted to play aggressively in this part of the map. I probably should have been here already, so this is a little bit delayed, but Don't know if he was able to kill the storm here. This is unfortunate, and really I should have been here a little earlier. And also, if I would have gotten in here a second earlier, I could have grabbed this. It's kind of dangerous for me now to be in this area. Just pop my heal here and walk away. The benefit of Enchantress. As you can see, I am taking a lot of damage, but it's pretty hard for them to kill me. Very hard. I did have raindrop. It's bad that I wasn't there in time though. If I would have been there earlier, I could have had creeps helped or maybe done damage to blow somebody up, something like that. Instead, I'll just go back to farming for a moment, grab another neutral, and keep picking up gold. A lot of stuff going on mid. It looks very dead. So at this point, the game's relatively close. I'm still doing quite well, but I have actually pressured decently well. Keeping some control of the area near towers is really important too. I again want to take the large creep here, so. Now one thing I can do with this Wildkin now is just sit it down here and start a tornado. And by doing this, it'll push the wave. It'll also give the creeps armor, which is kind of nice. Does a little damage over time. I think it very slightly reduces movement. And you can also use it for vision scouting. It used to give way more vision than it did in the past. And now what I accidentally kind of did was pull the creep wave. And I was kind of cool with this because I kind of just wanted to cut the creep wave to allow for tower pressure. And I can kind of get away with this due to the fact that I'm still very tanky. The Oracle did a really nice job denying all of these creeps. At least, good for him. But he got 2, I think. But I'm also getting tower kills in the meantime and the tower pressure. I probably should have been using Buckler a little earlier here to guarantee this. And due to OD being in this position, I kind of wanted to go for this kill. Slow here being quite useful. But yeah, as you can see, I actually do really... Enchant doesn't do bad damage at all. And that's kind of why Arcane Boots is so nice. Is because it does give you a much higher chance of just... You have way more mana to go through to throw way more impetus tosses. So against a hero like... against Huskar in the early game, it's just so effective. This looks pretty bad at this point. As much as I'd love to stay around and fight. But yeah, the Arcane Boots just does so much in terms of how much mana pool you have, so. Really not microing well there, and I also missed my Centaur Stomp, but we could actually maybe outplay this. We now realize that he's out of mana, which should mean a pretty easy kill. So I'm doing this a little sloppy. I missed my Centaur stun, but either way, it's still about right clicks. A Centaur does about the same right click damage as a hero does at level 1. So you get all this advantage in really nice ways. I want to look to see where that guy went. Oh, I can't because it's player perspective. Either way, same principles. Farm the waves. Get some advantage. Take the towers. Definitely want that big creep. It's one of the best counters actually to dealing with Enchantress is just blocking creep availability. If you do that, then it means that she's just a regular hero. She doesn't actually have creeps to back her up as well. So I'm able to buy mech at about 13 minutes while pressuring, while getting kills, while doing pretty significant damage just through Arcane Boots. I combo well with Void. Void was a really good pick here because he just chronos somebody and then I do more damage from range. And even if my attack speed's not amazing, it's alright. You don't have to be a carry on this hero. You can just do this supporty stuff instead. And I get a cloak here, I believe, because I wanted more magic resistance against the Zeus. I think I stopped microing this one and it died, but definitely should buy a cloak though. Yeah. So now every magic point of damage I take, I'm resisting, and I'm also healing heavily on top of that, so it should offset a lot of the nukes that my opponents have. I ended up building a Glimmer cape with my cloak, which I think was a really good choice. It could hypothetically be something like a pipe, but Glimmer's way cheaper, first of all. It only costs you about 1900 gold. Although a hood is actually less expensive than that, which is pretty crazy. For individual survivability, hood's way better, but having the ability to go in biz is quite nice. It's very good against heroes that Storm goes on. It helps me save one person more significantly than just kind of saving everybody, and for a lesser cost. And ultimately the most important reason why it's kind of cool, I have to chrono this one. The other reason why it's just really cool is because of the fact that you get attack speed from it. I thought that the Huskar was going to die a little bit faster there, so this was a bit of a It's a pretty big mistake actually by us. I'd already used my mech here as well. I think I walked around way too much there and didn't go for nearly enough damage. I saw now that he juked around this way. So I wanted to move over and try to get that kill for sure. He was hoping to juke there. I messed up a couple attacks there, it's my bad. But overall good fight. They used a lot of their nukes just to try to get me low, and then I just mech up and pop Nature's Attendants. They actually had a huge damage problem this game, was maybe a big reason why they were having trouble winning fights. OD has Hood, I believe. He bought Hood this game, which was really smart. They had an offlane Morphling who's mostly about stunning people for long durations. And then from there they had to do damage. And they had an Oracle and they had a Huskar, but I think it was like a jungle Huskar anyways, which is not really very good. Should pop my heal here. Ultimately do pop it. Gonna stand next to him here. And once he survives through a bit, things should be better. Where it was able to kill the Huskar, luckily. And he does ultimately go down. For some reason the animation wasn't looking good. If you're wondering why I ran away from him there, it was because I wanted to secure the kill there. Also got a slow off on the Zeus. Yeah, pretty straightforward fight, like, just really easy fight for us. It's almost impossible for them to kill me at this point. Like, it's partially just because of my accelerant from getting kills that I have way more levels than them, and therefore my overall HP is higher. But having things like Wand on top of Mech, on top of Cloak, on top of Nature's Attendants, I'm getting more and more and more tanky. Really makes a big difference. I still think I misplayed that fight decently. I should have been probably right-clicking a lot earlier to help offset the pressure that OD was receiving, but it was ultimately good. I saved a lot of mana. I should have been right-clicking the whole time for sure, and I think OD maybe could have fought a bit more. Like, if I'm standing next to OD, I can throw Impetus, but you don't want to throw it in melee range because then it does way less damage, but fight still went pretty well, and we were able to clean everyone up, so it went definitely a great fight for us. So I'm just going to do a little jungling here, mostly right-click. You can use nukes against them, you might as well, because it's not like the creeps mana matters. They're actually approaching me here. I was really not looking at the map at all, so it's extremely preventable. If I just pressed Nature's Attendants there, as soon as I saw the heroes on the map, then I likely would have lived. I had 11 charge stick, which is like 165 HP plus mech. I could have healed myself for 400, not to mention the Nature's Attendants health. That's good chrono. Able to get the storm for free. Banish to guarantee the kill. So this would have given me 10 seconds of 100. So yeah, this gives you 1000 HP. If I just press Nature's Attendants there, I probably live. They use most of their nukes with the bolt and the stuff like that. I'm starting my teleport here too because I want to make sure that Huskar doesn't kill him.
Where are you going?
Made CC invis there with Glimmer. If I had Glimmer in the last fight as well, maybe I wouldn't have died. Either way, I definitely over-panicked when I got ganked in the jungle. Yeah, it's the same spell resistance, but if you activate it, it gives you way more. So now I was at the point where I was like, wow, I bought all these support items, but I completely forgot about my DPS. And my DPS this game is actually pretty realistic, because I've had decent fights, I'm ahead, I can transition into core. And this was probably the thing I enjoyed most about playing this game, was that I didn't have to go Treads, Dragonlance, and try to win games that way. I could pressure heavily early game, I could transition that into support items like Mech, Cloak, Glimmer Cape, and now I can go back for damage if I want to, and then I can go back for support again if I want to. It's like Enchantress's items are so broad right now that you have all of these cool choices that you can make depending on how the game is going. In this game it was pretty straightforward because almost all of their damage was magical, so I can eventually start getting more levels of enchant and focusing on survivability items and all these cool things, but I don't know, it was really fun to play this game. Untouchable, if you're wondering why I haven't maxed it out yet, it scales the same at all levels now, so it doesn't do a big difference if you get 4th point, and I wanted to have more lowered levels of enchant and higher slow amounts, because we did have some small disable problems. And the uptime is just amazing once you finally max that skill out. Looking pretty bad for my lion friend here. He did have some vision on him, but the Glimmer Cape definitely kept him alive a bit longer. I'm just gonna try to kill him over here. Okay. Little uphill mischance stuff, but yeah, kept the line alive though. It felt good. Things like that, like completely prevent your opponents from getting back in the game. If they get 0 kills out of it rather than 1 for 3, then it doesn't become in any way good for them. So levels on enchant, very, very good to have. How long has my mouse been here? Probably a long time. But yeah, 12-second cooldown, 50% slow at 5.5-second duration is really strong. That's an amazing slow, especially against heroes that are kind of easy to kill. Huskar, Zeus, Storm doesn't really count for that, obviously, if he has mana, but I can also use it to break Lincolns and things like that if he eventually transitions. The fact that he dewarded that made me feel like for sure that they had a ward in the area, and they actually did, yeah. No, actually this is ours. No, I guess he just got lucky. Okay. He did see me run this way, so he anticipated me warding in that area. But back to the jungle. Early Dragonlance is bad in other ways too. And this is some of the problem with going something like Treads into Dragonlance, is that you don't have very much mana. The items, stat-based wise, it's actually terrible for your hero. In the past it was better, but since it got changed to Strength and Agility, it's become worse for you as a hero in some ways. You still get a lot of HP from it, which is really great, but it doesn't give you any int. And it gives you 2 points of armor due to the agility, and it gives you 14 attack speed, but it doesn't increase your right-click damage except for the fact that when you use impetus, it travels farther. So positives and benefits. And at this point, I could have also gone from Dragonlance into Hurricane Pike just because Force Staff for my allies is good. But what I wanted to do instead was go for Guardian Greaves at this point, and that's because I know that Storm could be building or could be close to an Orchid. And if you look at his hero, he is going to work towards an Orchid, but he's very far away. But regardless, by the time I have Greaves, I'm really late for this fight. I should have been watching, but I'm going to Glimmer him here. That way as they dive after the spin, because that's usually when they go on people. Wanted to make sure that I'm able to keep him alive. So that went well. Storm wasted a lot of mana essentially chasing there, and he wasn't able to get out afterwards. He didn't have the same mana. I wanted to look up here. Okay, so this is where he was hiding. He actually did get the mana pretty fast. Eventually we came back and looked for him, but we wasted a lot of time doing it. Yeah, he would have been really hard to find. He was like in here or something. We gave up eventually. So yeah, Guardian Greaves is pretty much great at this point, just because it offsets any Orchid potential that they could have at this point in the game. I still can get stunned by Morphling, for example, stunned for 4 seconds and not be able to use Greaves. That's one scary thing, but as long as I don't get super disabled in that way, I should be fine. And then it lowers the cooldown of mech. Normally something I don't care too much about, depending on the lineup, but this game I think it's quite nice to have a lower cooldown mech, just because of how much damage is flying around. So if I had a TP, I could have saved him there, I think. But I did not have a TP. Should have had one, though. So I started thinking about going the Force Staff first, but ultimately I decided on the Orchid. Just out of safety reasons, I thought it would be better. Got a little lucky on a Storm kill. Or Storm Suicide, that is. And now we chose to Roche. So what I did there, and something I didn't talk about in the Dota buff section, but you can keep your creeps alive longer than the 80 seconds if you want to. You just have to recast Enchantress, enchant on them. That's what I did. Casted Enchant on the Alpha Wolf, which keeps it alive, which keeps our damage 30% up, which is huge. So it's good for Enchantresses to tank Roche, just because you take a lot less damage than allies because of the attack speed reduction. This creep is not very good to have. The one that I just took, it gives you 3 mana per second and also provides a heal, but that's about it. It's sometimes cool to steal if you're playing Doombringer, because it refills your mana so rapidly, but in most cases it's not worth grabbing. Buy TPs here. Got the Greaves. Want to grab a good creep as well. I can push lanes with this. I need to TP immediately, actually. Gotta get to the fight. So, kind of a bad fight start. The Chrono was alright. We weren't able to do any damage from the backline was the problem. Nice banish from CC. I could have just glimmered myself. It would have been okay, but I deserve that kill. So, got Greaves ready now. Didn't use mech yet, so I can pop it right away. More mana pool. I just felt real good about my items here. They're so strong. The only thing I'm maybe missing is a Force Staff, but depending on what the game would be like, I might go Force instead of Glimmer, for example. If that's the case, my attack speed still wouldn't be very good, but that's alright. Happy to slap him a little bit. This is a great time for me to heal now, because I was severely out of position, and I got veiled. So I gotta be slightly careful about the damage I take. Don't forget you can enchant illusions, take them under control if you want, so if Morphling uses Replicate, I can take control of that illusion. I really should have Glimmered him, I don't know why I did not. Very, very late on it. Our damage is really strong. He bashed there, that was huge. Oh, he was about to pull the Void, that would have killed him for sure. That was actually pretty unlucky for him. Oh no, our courier died. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't Glimmer Wolfman there. That was huge oversight though. That is for sure.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I think he's calling Wolfman a tomato skill here, but I'm not sure. So I got bolted. It did almost no damage. That felt pretty cool. Glimmered here because I anticipated another bolt coming. It didn't. Yeah, the game's pretty much over now. A little slow, a little damage. And I think I died here, yeah. Sometimes you get stunned for 5 seconds, guys. The mistake obviously was that I was way out of position. My allies weren't able to back me up rapidly, but I really felt good about this combo. The OD Enchantress. OD mid, Enchantress roaming. Seems quite strong. CCNC won a really cool build too. I really was able to, I feel like I was able to facilitate a lot of advantage that we had this game just because of roaming. The heals really stacked up well with our heroes. Having an OD core allows him to banish people that get stunned for 4 seconds, for example. Or I can cover him if he's in trouble. But I love the item builds this game. It was really fun. My net worth was really huge, obviously, which made it kind of good too, but wanted to buy back at the end so my items were finished, and yeah. So it doesn't look like I had that many items in a way, but I actually did. For the time period in the game, it was a very successful Enchantress game. I can't remember how much MMR we won from it. Hopefully it'll show. Okay, I gained 13. So yeah, it was a really one-sided game in terms of their skill level versus ours. So maybe not the best example, but it's not as much about. And this is kind of a point I want to make because there's a lot of talk about this in terms of Blitz's video yesterday. There was a lot of talk about whether or not the game was a good example of strategy or making a point. But the reality is that for most cases, you can make a point without it having to be a balanced game. So even though this was ranked, we didn't really know what the MMR was, obviously. But the value is still that Enchantress can roam very effectively, that how you should play your game, how you should structure your roaming, your map movement, your creep control, stuff like that. It's all still here, so I still feel like a game like this is still very effective for showing that kind of stuff. And yeah, CCNC did like a stupid amount of our overall DPS, but it was pretty early in the game. It was only about 30 minutes, so not too surprising. And I think this was their high MMR guy, the Zeus. I don't know why they had a Jungle Huskar. That's weird too, but that's not on me, guys. That's on them for choosing to pick Jungle Huskar. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense, guys. Practice your micro. Just put each creep on an individual hotkey differently and move them around like that. You can watch the stream video. I'll upload that one as well for you guys to watch if you want to see it. And I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you guys want to see anything specifically for videos. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.